Good afternoon, everybody. I will call the special common council meeting to order. Mayor Zach Fruink.
Tosh Furkes, City Alderman.
Terry Nolan, City Alderman.
Scott Kellogg, City Alderman.
Greg Hepp, City Alderman.
Steve Bill, City Alderman.
Tom Realm, Alderman.
Lee Towle, Alderman.
Jim Stack, Alderman.
Joe Bachman, Wisconsin Rapid City Times.
Jim Brown, River City Cal.
J.R. Seward of Coldwell Banker Seward Realtors.
Joe Terry, Director of Public Works.
And Jonathan Anderson, Judge.
Adam Tagan, Planning and Zoning.
Paul Lillard, Rapid Street. Jeff Williams, I'm just a meeting early.
All right. Thank you all for being here and for all council members for being present. Moving to item number 3, which is consideration of a recommendation from the Planning Commission meeting of February 1st regarding a request by Coldwell Banker for approval of a conditional use permit to allow an animated sign at the B2 General Business District at 325 8th Street South. Parcel number 34073363, which is attached. There's also a staff report and supporting materials also that's attached. We've got J.R. Seward here in the audience or here with us this evening. J.R., do you want to speak to your request and maybe address any questions that the council may have?
Absolutely. All of you, I think, have received the printout of what we're planning on doing, and this is the existing signage that's there. We're talking about replacing the existing reader board with an electronic message center, which is the before and after picture. So we're not expanding the amount of signage at all. It's within the same, framework of what we have there. And we've received and reviewed Adam's recommendations in terms of what the stipulations of granting that request would be, and we find them acceptable.
Council members, any questions regarding the request? Adam, any additional comments from a staff perspective?
Did I get everyone minutes? Did I miss anyone? Oh, actually, Jim, I think you slipped in. Planning Commission did review this last Monday. They agreed with the 4 recommended conditions from staff, but they did add a 5th condition, and that was tied to the lighting level. Basically, the condition reads that the sign needs to have either a manual or an automatic dimming feature, and that has to be enabled. So that as it gets dark, the sign will actually dim, so it's not as bright and or just potentially distracting. So other than that, the Planning Commission was in support and voted unanimously for approval.
I attended, and I have 2 concerns. One is aesthetics. 8th Street, as I mentioned at the zoning planning meeting, is, in my opinion, is an embarrassment with the signage and a lack of green space. 4 months ago, we had an opportunity to look at slides of cities of what would you like to see Wisconsin Rapids look like. And they had a whole variety of slides, and the slides that really stood out as what we would, in my opinion, as what we would like to have Wisconsin Rapids look like, has green space. And there is 65 businesses that have no green space, and there's 35 banks, etc., Culvers and others that do. And that's a concern. But added to that is the signage. If you go down 8th Street, if you took just at that meeting 4 months ago, I think it was 4 months ago, if you took a picture of 8th Street and you put that picture up on that screen, I would suggest that most people would say that is not a main street you would want in your city. And I'm against animated signs as a whole, not this particular animated sign. But if this is allowed, then I would like to suggest have a moratorium on animated signs until the new zoning codes are updated. And my concern, like right now, there's 19, I rode down the street today, there's 19 animated signs. Most of them are across where they have wordage. 3 are signs similar to this. One is Cheryl Tire, one is Quick Trip, and the other one RCO Computers. They're bright. And now, can you visualize, after approving this, if that's the case, that in the next several months, more people come and want animated signs similar to that, and have that added to what we already have going down the street. And then I look at it as the second thing. The aesthetic is one. And the second reason I'm concerned is texting. One minute we talk about people shouldn't text while they drive, and next minute we provide right in front of you texting, from those strips that go across that are animated to the signs that change that are animated. And then we worry about accidents. You know, this sign is near a crossing where east students would cross, Howe students might cross. And if you have other signs down the road, you could have Grove students crossing and Woodside students crossing. And that's texting, as far as I'm concerned. And we're as comparable as a person using a smartphone. And we're putting that sign right up there. So I guess I'm against it, not this sign in particular. I don't want to, but the idea that we're going to go with the animated signs. And if this is approved, it's approved. But let's put a moratorium and let's have this as a conversation in the future. That's how I look at it.
Scott, thank you. Any others?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because I'm kind of in Scott's boat here. Not this sign, but we're gonna keep doing this, keep doing this. I agree, whether this gets approved or not, we gotta have a moratorium right now, we gotta discuss this, because, I mean, I too go that way every day. Not that I don't look at the sign now, JR, but I mean, there's school crossings there, and there are cars going way too fast now through there. Now I don't know what they're gonna do if they're not paying attention or watching that sign or any sign. But I am torn, because, you know, I got phone calls, because people knew this one was coming up, and it was a horse apiece, I think, so, but.
Adam, you had a,
Just wanted to note, rather than a moratorium, I guess what I would recommend is we can process a fairly simple text amendment that would need to go through public hearing at Plan Commission and then onto the council for approval, and we can basically just strike the language that allows it as a conditional use in B2, and then if it's not allowed anywhere in your code, it's, for all intents and purposes, a moratorium. So
I like that.
if that's the road, then I would recommend a motion, regardless of how this goes, to direct staff to do that.
And then it gives you time to update or determine what it would look like or sound like, and have that discussion as a common council. For what's the future of that street? And I think it's a good conversation to have.
okay, thank you. Other thoughts?
I'll just share the part of the safety issue, because that's what struck me right at first, looking at, and Scott brought up the aesthetics, which makes sense too. And the reading of the animated part of the signage is, again, agreeing with what Scott said, you could look at it as being like texting. If you're looking at that, and if there's too much of that going across or changing, however it does, that people will be looking at it more. If it was just one solid sign or something, people see that, but their eyes aren't glued to it. When you get the animated ones that are changing, people are watching to see what the next and the next and the next item is that comes up, for sale or whatever, so. Chair?
I just wanted to share some additional information for the council to consider. When you're going through a highway construction project, have you noticed what they are using? This is the state of Wisconsin. This is the DOT. What are they using now? Are they using stationary signs? No. They're using animated signs to get their message out. And they're doing that because they found it safer. Because it takes longer for a person to drive by and read that sign. They can't read fast enough when they're going 70 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour, or in this particular case, 35 miles an hour. They put it out there and it flashes, and if it's too long for the screen, it flashes twice, and it's all gauged to what the traffic is. And that's part of the, what the company that is doing this for us has done, is they have calculated what is the speed of the traffic there, what is the angle from the street, and how long is the message going to be there, so it isn't a safety issue. You know, that's part of what's built into the software, so that they don't have to sit there and wait on that whole thing about, you know, sometimes when a message is going across like that. Those are difficult, and I've seen some of those animated signs where it's almost like a text. It's like, well, where's the rest of it? And I'm driving, I'm cranking my neck to see the end of the sentence. That's not what we're doing here. We don't want to have anything unsafe happen in front of our property. And I'm in the city too, and Scott, you bring up a very good point. And we've got a street that has originally started as 2 lanes out in front of our office. And there was actually parking on A Street back then. And some of the people in this room probably remember that. Tom, you probably do. And so what's happened, there is no green space. I mean, it's my building, the sidewalk, and there's the street. I wish we could have a green space there. And we've got some very nice landscaping out in front of our spot, but it's only between the sidewalk and where about 4 feet there. So there isn't any place to plant any trees, you know, and for years we tried to grow grass out there. It was absolutely impossible with the salt and the plowing when the plow came through, so we just extended the sidewalk and made that concrete. But further down, you use Culver's as a, for instance, Scott, I mean, that was a brand new building after the 4-lane A Street. It was a vacant lot there. Sure, the new setbacks that are part of our city's, you know, policies, those all apply there, but a lot of these places have been there long before A Street was a 4-lane road. So I just think that although, you know, having a good policy in place makes sense, you've already got some great things in place. I mean, everybody that comes for a sign like this has got to go through this commission, and you've got to decide what's best for this location and what type of restrictions do we put on it as a conditional use.
Scott?
I understand what you're saying about this sign. I'm looking at what happens if we have, right now we have 3, this will be the 4th sign. What happens if we have 20 signs down A Street, outside of this one? That's my concern. And if we can go with what Adam talked about, I feel comfortable with that, as long as we put some type of moratorium and let's have a good discussion as to, if you go to Culver's out in Plover, they have one of those big animated signs. It's huge. Now it's wide open. They don't have multiple stores right next to it. So but I'm just thinking, wow, if you visualize that street with 19, you know, large animated signs, the appearance of that street would be unreal, and as bad as it is. So, and you're talking about where you're located in that situation. I'm looking at the bigger picture, and that is my concern. And if we can go with something that we can, I use the word, you know, just stop doing it for now and let us visit this, then I feel comfortable with that, you know. But I can't see that whole street with animated signs going down. If we want to build the image of this city, that's my concern.
Other thoughts? Let's entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the request.
Motion to approve the request by Stack. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Hep. Move into discussion. Any further discussion? I guess a question would be, Adam, your proposed language for consideration to the council, would that occur following the motion, or would that be something that we would bring back to a future planning commission?
I don't know that there's any formal action that would be needed on it, but if you guys can give me a consensus that you want me to process that amendment, it would go through that process. It's not on the agenda now, so I
Right.
don't know that a formal motion is appropriate.
Okay, just so we can
So it would
segment
be
the
separate of
discussion.
this, I
Thank
would
you.
say.
Okay, very good. So we have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
With 3 nays, so motion carried, 5 ayes, 3 nays. So then I understand, as Adam just explained, the procedure would follow at planning commission, or you process the change and we'll go from there. All right, Thank you all for being here. I entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion by Tom, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Terry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Stand adjourned. Thank you all for the short meeting.